Hello everyone, Nigat here, and welcome to another match of LittleWarGame. Today I am bringing you a match played between two very high level opponents, very high skill level opponents. Mr. Haffey playing with the blue pieces in the bottom right hand corner of Ravaged versus his opponent playing with the red pieces in the top left hand corner of Ravaged. It is YummyBlabla, two extremely talented players. Looks like YummyBlabla decided to go for this beast opening, and as a result, we do see him bringing in some wolves to try to do some pressure to Haffey's natural base here. Ooh, Haffey getting a little bit of damage onto this wolf. I'm curious to see if he'll blink for that kill, and it looks like that he does. Yummy decides to put in some additional pressure onto some of these workers. So far, so good for Haffey. Getting a wolf kill is a big deal. However, having to pull these workers just to make sure this base goes up is a little bit of a bigger deal. Both players having around 12 to 13 workers, so the fact that Haffey needed to pull these 4 just for that safety does reduce his overall mining by about 70 gold. Which is kind of a big deal. YummyBlabla going for a unique strategy here, playing with this den opening and then transitioning into a Rax play. So for those who might not know, Yummy is very well known for going den, for opening den, getting some scouting information, and then eventually going into archers. Yummy so badly really wanting this worker kill. But is not going to be able to find the damage he needs in order to take it down, and as a result, he flees with this knight, or with that wolf rather, and then at the same time, Haffey putting in a little bit of pressure to Yummy's base here, blinking in with the raiders, getting a worker kill, I believe, if we look at the units lost. Getting a worker kill, putting some additional pressure. And I do believe Haffey will scout the fact that his opponent is going for a Den Rax hybrid style. How many raiders do we have for Mr. Haffey? We have 4 raiders so far. Is there a 5th one in production? There is a 5th raider in production. So it'll be raider pressure from Haffey here. And as a result, Yummy is just going to need to be able to use these archers to keep those raiders from doing too much damage. And then Yummy is going to see the fact that Haffey is trying to get this fast third base up. I'm very curious to see how Yummy is going to respond to this. If he's going to try to move across the map. Ooh, this is not good. Raiders here are going to do a really good job at putting a lot of damage onto that archer. However, we see that all these guys are taking a little bit of damage. It's kind of dangerous to kite here, especially when the wolves are going to do so much damage to the raiders. But it does look like Haffey is able to escape, putting a little bit of pressure on, while at the same time not losing any units. A little bit of a chase between these two units here, the raider and that wolf at the same time. Alright, so it looks like Yummy's composition is starting to go online. Combination of wolves and archers. It's kind of one of these unique play styles that we have in LittleWarGame, because you can go any direction in terms of your openings, whether it be den or Rax. You can combine any units, so in this case we have 2 tier 1 units between these wolves and these archers, which tend to synchronize extremely well. Wolves being able to move in, doing some damage. They also have the ability to regenerate their health, so over time they're going to be regenerating. And then archers in the back doing damage from distance. This is probably what we would consider to be the ultimate kiting army that can move back and constantly kite their opponent, let the wolves regenerate, and then do damage to their opponent at the same time. Haffey finishing up his third base. He's not producing too many workers. Curious to see if he's deciding to attack, and he is deciding to get 2 werewolf dens. So he had to spend 100 gold to get both of these dens, and about 220 more gold, if I remember correctly, to upgrade these dens into werewolf dens. So he's going for a very unique style of play, trying to use these 5 raiders to basically tell his opponent not to go onto his side of the map and try to figure out what Haffey is doing. But instead, it does look like Yummy is going to start putting some pressure onto these raiders here. Wolves doing a lot of nip damage as they're biting these the ankles of the raiders. Haffey forced to blink away. Looks like he's going to be trying to do a little bit of a backstab as these guys move away from here. Yummy responding by sending a mere wolf to scout for the 3rd, maybe seeing if there's a 4th base location. He's kind of floating here. He's not exactly sure what to do at the moment. Kind of wants to take this nice and slow as he's approaching the 3rd base. It looks like he's expecting some sort of army from Haffey to be here already. Haffey realizes and is forced to cancel his werewolf dens so that he can get some army production going a little bit faster than he wanted originally. Where did these raiders go? I'm curious. Oh, here they are. In the center of the map, looks like they went for a big circle around move. And they're going to try to get some potential flanks. Yummy is going to be able to scout the fact that the raiders are present. Haffey does blink away, so he doesn't want to lose these 4 now raiders. Interesting to see both these players. Haffey cutting a lot of his workers to be able to get this production underway. In fact, he's got 6 dens, so he opened with Rax play with this raider play and then transitioned into Beast. So essentially what he wanted to do was start the game by getting this fast 3rd base, and raiders are very good at getting fast 3rd bases, and then transition that fast eco into a different playstyle. So with these wolves in play now, YummyBlabla has a lot more units he needs to focus on killing here. YummyBlabla still has a good archer lead. He also is producing, and a lot of his reinforcements are present. So I don't think Haffey got a good trade here at all, actually. I feel like he had a losing trade. In fact, we see that in terms of the gold loss, that Haffey has both mined fewer gold as well as has taken more losses here. So Yummy is going to try to take this 4th base now. Haffey doesn't have any units to kind of stop or block this take. So as a result, Yummy is basically going to take this for free. And we see that Yummy is pulling ahead in terms of the worker count. And not only that, we see that he is starting to get a massive tech advantage, especially as he's going for upgrades, mages, and a fortress at the same time. So a lot of tech and a lot of production from Yummy. And Yummy can do this because he is putting so much pressure on Haffey. Haffey having to respond. If you remember earlier, having to cut these werewolf dens from earlier. Snakes are in play now, so this is going to do a little bit better for Haffey. I personally prefer to have the snakes if I'm going for a beast-centric army here. Just because I know that if I get caught in a fight, the snakes are going to perform extremely well. But YummyBlabla is also going to do a good job of making sure that he's kiting, allowing both the snakes and the archers to do damage. I just saw that he had a layered defense here. So he has snakes, archers, and wolves all doing damage at the same time. So that's going to be a very high amount of damage. However, Haffey is overrunning this force, especially given the fact that his reinforcements were way closer. YummyBlabla trying to come back in, trying to regroup with the forces that he has available, but Haffey is going to be chasing this down. YummyBlabla needs to make sure that he can regroup, and if we take a look at the gold loss, Haffey has already recouped a lot of that gold loss, especially as YummyBlabla just took a terrible fight, a massive fight to lose here. I really hope that his tech advantage here with this +1 armor or +1 attack, actually both players have +1 attack at this point, will swing back into Yummy's favor, but it doesn't look like it will. These snakes in the back here doing so much damage, basically instantly deleting these wolves in about 2 or 3 volleys. Basically, this wolf protection disappears. Haffey realizing that he did Really good job with this pressure. Is going for dragons of his own. Guys, are we about to see a dragon versus dragon game? That would be really exciting. So far, we don't have either. So, Haffey going for the dragon tech, and Yummy just now is starting to get dragons of his own. Haffey putting a little bit more pressure here, knows that he has the army advantage, and if we take a look at the supply, Yummy does actually have a supply advantage over his opponent, and has this mage here, so if he uses slow field on these snakes, they are going to have a very hard time getting away, but maybe Haffey doesn't even want to leave. His snakes are doing such a good job of putting damage onto these wolves. The snake snowball is coming into play very, very big here. Snakes just moving forward. Workers trying to go in there. Mage gets sniped. It's not looking too good for Yummy. At least it's not looking as good as it was looking much earlier. Haffey is starting to get his 4th base up, so that's going to be very good for him. If we take a look at the worker count, YummyBlabla is still up about 10 workers to Haffey's 30. And YummyBlabla has also mined about 1,000 more gold than his opponent. So overall, except for taking those bad fights in the middle of the map, he really should have been able to eliminate Haffey's army, but Haffey just kind of, with the better reinforcements there, was able to secure his position. But Yummy, now that he's got his 1,000 gold lead, is going to be able to go into dragons, you know, consistently producing. Haffey, having 2 dragon layers, is going to be producing on that 2 dragon layer tech. Something interesting I do want to mention this game is that neither player has built a bird this game. Normally we see once you build a 3rd base, you go for a bird just so you can scout if your opponent is going for any tech. And then, depending on how well you control your bird, you can keep your bird alive, that sort of thing, and then continue to scout for additional tech if it ever comes around. How many dens is YummyBlabla on at the moment? See, 9 dens for YummyBlabla, 6 for Haffey. So big lead in terms of production here for Yummy. However, a lot of this is in wolves, and we are starting to see the fact that Haffey is going into this big dragon transition, and even now going into mech here, so looking for stability in terms of his playstyle. Big fight here in the center of the map. Haffey kind of getting a little bit surrounded with the contingent of his army, and as a result he loses about 20 to 30, well, maybe not that much, but 10 to 20 supply for sure. Yummy, I think he's stabilized against these dragons, and he's maxed. Yummy is maxed. He's completely maxed out. If I was Yummy right now, I would be looking for fights. Man, these snakes do so much damage to dragons nowadays. Dragons, by the way, if you didn't know, got a health debuff in the latest patch. Do we see a slow field? Do we see a slow field? No slow field. It can still happen. It can still happen. Ooh. By the way, did you know that this was a live match? So this is not a recording. If I typed into the bar down there, they would be able to see what I'm typing and respond to that. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to spoil that. But if we ever see any lag or any game crashes, that'll just because the game is currently ongoing. So it's very exciting when I get to cast games that are ongoing because I'll have no idea what the result of the match is going to be. And like I said, these snakes are like real powerhouses. Haffey at the same time, going for a little bit of counter pressure. YummyBlabla killing so many of Haffey's workers at the 4th base. Haffey realizing that he doesn't have the workers or the army he needs to kind of respond to this, and as a result he's kind of forced to just sit. YummyBlabla getting the slow field onto all these Wolves is going to be able to deny a lot of the damage potential from these Wolves. Haffey losing on so many different fronts, over at his 4th base, over at his main army, over at his potential 5th base. The only good thing for Haffey at this exact moment is the fact that he has these dragons, and he has dragons in a high amount, but YummyBlabla is producing nothing but snakes, and as a result, these snakes are going to do so much damage. The mages catch these dragons in the slow field, so these guys are going to take so much damage, and as a result, we see that one dragon does go down. Yummy just constantly around the map, Haffey with these dragons. Be so excited. I'm curious to see if the development for Beast versus Beast is just going to be to go either into pure snake, or are we going to see what Haffey is doing and transition into a little bit more of mech play, where we have, you know, potential airships, but more specifically the fact that we're going to get these catapults to counter a lot of that snake ball. We'll have to see snakes underneath all these dragons. Dragons from YummyBlabla is going to be doing a lot of damage, and we just saw so many dragons go down. About 4 dragons going down, and instantly Haffey says, GG, well played, giving the game over to YummyBlabla. Good game. If you guys enjoyed that, please let me know down in the comments below. Tell me what you think about the snake. What about snake and mages? What kind of composition do you think that's going to be? Alrighty guys, I will see you in the next video.